Whenever we think of Buddha, our heart gradually loads with immense calmness. It's not just his name, but his face, his eyes, and the body gestures that teach us a proper way of existence. Let's dive into the journey of Gautam Buddha's story of wisdom and enlightenment. A person who gave a new path to knowledge and rightness took birth in 563 BC in Kapilavastu, Nepal. He was a son to the most respected and honored king of Sakya, Suddhodana. The king himself was a noble person and was known as the king of the laws. One full moon night, Queen Mahamaya saw a vivid dream. She dreamt of four heavenly figures who picked her up to a lake in the Himalayas. After giving her a divine bath, they ornamented her with blissful flowers. Soon after, a white elephant carrying a white lotus flower in its trunk arrived and went around her 3 times, entering her womb through her right side. When she woke up from her dream, the elephant had already disappeared. She, being tensed, ran to the king and requested him to come up with the meaning behind this dream. They knew that this is a positive note because elephants are considered the most auspicious animals in Nepal. King ordered and assembled a group of wise men to discover the meaning of the dream. After a long discussion among the wise men, they delivered great news to Raja Suddhodana. The wise men said, "Your Majesty, you are very lucky. The Devas have accepted our queen as the mother of the purest one, and the child will become a very great essence to this universe." The couple was very happy to know about this great occurrence. After many years, Queen Mahamaya became pregnant. She and her husband were very happy about it. On the full moon day in the month of May, she gave birth to the divine soul in Lumbini Park while she was on her way to see her parents. Upon his birth, he immediately stood and walked 7 steps, with a lotus flower emerging from the earth at each step made. Then, at the 7th step, he stopped, with one hand pointing to the sky and the other pointing to the ground, and announced with a noble voice, "In heavens and on the earth, only I am singularly supreme." After that, he returned to the state as an adorable and lovely infant baby. 5 days after the prince's birth, the king asked 5 wise men to select a name for his son as per the rituals. They named him Siddharth. This name means the one whose wishes will be fulfilled. Everyone was very happy to see everything positive around the kingdom. Everyone was very happy about the birth of the purest one. But 2 days after his name-giving ceremony, Devi Mahamaya died of illness. Everyone was very sad, including King Suddhodana. Wise men previously advised king to keep Siddharth out of any pain and discomfort. They had predicted that if the prince saw someone old, someone sick, a dead person and a monk, he would want to leave the palace and become a monk himself instead of being a prince. Listening to them, his feelings started horrifying him. The queen's sister, Prajapati Gautami, took care of the baby prince with as much emotion and tenderness as if he were her own son. Prince Siddharth was a healthful and delightful boy. He liked to learn and found it easy to study and was the most skillful in his class. He was always thoughtful to others and was beloved among his friends. Once Siddharth saw his cousin brother hurting a swan. His brother, Prince Devdutt, shot a swan with an arrow, but Siddharth took the swan, provided all his attention and care. When the swan started getting better, he let it fly in the sky. One afternoon, his father took him to the annual plowing festival. Siddharth sat down under a rose apple tree and saw everyone. He marked that while people were blissfully enjoying themselves, the bullocks had to work terribly hard and plough the field. They did not look happy at all. He also witnessed the life cycle of creatures, how a lizard ate an ant, then it is eaten by a snake, and the snake is thereafter eaten by an eagle. He assumed that all the pleasure we behold in our life is just for some period. It gradually finishes up with suffering. When Siddharth saw what's happening all around, he sat under a tree and started thinking deeply. When king and the maid saw him sitting under a tree, cross-legged in deep meditation, they started worrying about his future. King decided to make a place full of joy and comfort for Siddharth inside the palace. The king did not want his son to think about the deep things in life too much, because he remembered that the wise men had predicted that his son might one day want to leave the palace and become a monk. But this did not stop Siddharth from thinking about the sufferings and unhappiness that he noticed around him. Siddharth grew up to be a handsome young man, full of strength. To stop Siddharth from thinking about the outer world, the king arranged his marriage to his beautiful cousin, Princess Yasodhara. As per the traditional belief, Siddharth had to prove his worth before her parents. They organized a ceremony in which Siddharth was being told to tame a wild horse. Siddharth tamed the horse not by beating it, as some suitors might, but by talking to the horse to calm it and stroking it gently. Yasodhara wanted to marry the prince and no one else. They were married in a great ceremony. To stop the prince from thinking about unhappiness or leaving home, King Sudodana created a pleasure palace for Siddharth and Yasodhara. Dancers and singers were asked to entertain them, and only healthy and young people were allotted into the palace and the palace garden. The king did not want Siddharth to know that everybody gets sick, grows old and eventually will die. But in spite of the king's efforts, the prince was not happy. He wanted to know what life was like for people who lived outside the palace walls. Finally, after some time, the king allowed Siddharth to go out and attend his people, as he was going to become the king soon, and he should understand everything about his kingdom and his people. He went with his attendant, Channa. On his first visit, Siddharth witnessed a white-haired, wrinkled man dressed in shreds. Such a sight shocked him, as he had never seen anyone old before. Channa told him that this man was old and that everyone will become old one day. Siddharth felt frightened by that and asked Channa to take him back home. At night, he could not sleep and he kept on imagining old age. On his next visit, he saw a man lying on the ground and moaning. Out of sympathy, he rushed over to the man. Channa alerted him that the man was sick and that everyone, even noble people like Siddharth or the king, could get sick. On the third visit, Siddharth and Channa saw 4 men carrying another man on a stretcher. Channa told Siddharth that the man was dead and was going to be cremated. He also said that no one can escape death and told the prince that everyone will die one day. When they returned to the palace, Siddharth kept on thinking about what he had seen. Finally, he made a strong decision to find a way out of the misery of old age, sickness, and death. Some time later, while the prince was riding in the garden, he noticed a man in a yellow robe. He noticed that the man looked very peaceful and happy. Channa described to him that the man was a monk. The monk had left his family and given up his desire for pleasures to search for freedom from worldly suffering. The prince felt inspired by the sight of the monk and began to want to leave home to search for freedom in the same way. One night, when everyone in the palace was sleeping, Siddharth requested Channa to prepare his horse, Kantaka. In the meantime, he went into the room where Yasodhara and their newborn boy Rahula slept. He was filled with loving kindness towards them and pledged himself that he would come back to see them. But first, he had to understand why all creatures suffer and find out how they could escape from suffering. In the silence of the night, Prince Siddharth mounted Kantaka. Accompanied by Channa, he left the palace and the city of Kapilavastu. They halted at a river some distance from the city, and the prince took off his rich attire and put on the robes of a monk. Then he told Channa to take the horse back to the palace. At first, both Channa and Kantaka denied going back. But Siddharth ordered that he had to go on alone. With fears rolling down his face, Kantaka watched as Prince walked out of sight. This part of the Buddha story is the turning period of the story of Gautam Buddha. So, at the age of 29, Siddharth began the homeless life of a monk. He started living a simple life by giving up all the pleasures and desires what fancied him earlier. He used to start his days by begging for his dietetic requirements. Days passed and he encountered people with different states of mind. He understood that people all around are way away from understanding what life is, and this made him more eager to search for the truth. His first teacher was Alara Kalama. He stayed with the sage and studied diligently. Soon he knew as much as his teacher, but although he had learnt how to make his mind very calm, he still did not know the way to freedom from all suffering. So he thanked Alara Kalama and left to find another teacher. His second teacher was Uddaka Ramputta, who was famous for his cleverness. Uddaka could not direct him how to stop suffering, old age and death either, and he had never heard of anyone who could solve these problems. Once again, Buddha was disappointed and left Uddaka, building up his mind to struggle by himself until he discovered the cause of all the misery of life. Siddharth Gautam reduced his eating more and more until he ate nothing at all. This stage of Buddha was named Fasting Buddha Shakyamuni. He became extremely thin, but still, he did not want to give up such practice. One day, while meditating alone, he fainted. At that time, a shepherd boy with a goat walked by. He saw Siddharth and realized that without any food, Siddharth would die very soon. So he quickly fed him some warm goat's milk. Soon Siddharth regained consciousness and began to feel better. He realized that without the boy's help, he would have died before attaining enlightenment. From then on, Siddharth began eating normally. Soon his health was completely restored. He made a promise to himself, I will not give up until I achieve my goal, until I find a way of freedom from suffering, for myself and all people. As he meditated, Siddharth let go of all outside disturbances and memories of pleasures from the past. He let go of all worldly thoughts and turned his mind to finding the ultimate truth about life. He asked himself, how does suffering start? How can one be free from suffering? At first, many distracting images appeared in his mind, but finally, his mind became very calm, like a pond of still water. In the calm of deep meditation, Siddharth concentrated on how his own life had started. He had 3 dreams before enlightenment. First, he dreamed that he was sleeping on the surface of the earth as his bed, with the Himalaya mountains as his pillow, placing his left hand on the Eastern Ocean, his right hand on the Western Ocean, and both his legs on the Southern Ocean. This first dream presaged his realization of omniscience and becoming a Buddha among Devas, humans, and Brahmas. In the second dream, he dreamt that the species of grass called Tiraya emerged from his navel, and while he was looking on, it grew up, rising higher and higher until it touches the sky, the open space. This second dream presaged that he would be able to teach the path of 8 constituents, which is the middle way to humans and Deva. In the third dream, he dreamt that 4 kinds of birds, blue, golden, red and grey in color, came flying from the 4 directions, and when they threw themselves down at his feet, all the 4 kinds of birds turned completely white. This fourth dream presaged that clansmen from the 4 classes of people, namely the princely class, the Brahmin class, the merchant class, the poor class, would embrace the teaching of the Buddha. He now became fully enlightened. He played an important role in spreading his knowledge for many years. Buddha felt he could go no further, so he asked his disciple to prepare a place for him to lie down. The Buddha then lay down on his right side. He did not fall asleep, but rested to relieve his pain and fatigue. His mind remained as tranquil as it had ever been. Later, the Buddha gave the monks and nuns the last chance to ask any questions. He asked them if any of them still had doubts about the Buddha, Dharma, and the Sangha. But none of them had any doubts about the triple gem. Finally, the Buddha said to the monks, "Monks, this is the last time for me to talk to you. All things change. Work hard to gain your own salvation." The Buddha then entered into meditation, deeper and deeper, until his mind was purely balanced and steadily focused. And then he passed away. Thus, the Buddha, the Blessed One, had attained that final freedom known as Nirvana. Soon after the death of Buddha, a meeting of 500 people was held to collect together all his teachings. They were memorized and handed down from one generation of monks to the next. In this way, the teachings of life of Buddha were not lost, and we can still hear them today. Thank you so much for watching the video. Kindly subscribe to my channel for more such interesting content.